Hey everyone, this is Andrew, and this is my Glissa the Traitor deck. Alright, so this is a deck that I built recently that, I tried to find an interesting way to abuse Glissa's ability where, when opponents' creatures go to the graveyard, you recur artifacts. So I've seen a bunch of different ways, but I tried to kind of construct a really solid toolbox to recur answers based on, what I'm playing. So, she's kind of a beater in herself, so she kind of just puts in a lot of good work and blocks really well. So, some basic lands. We have 12 swamps, and 11 forests. So then we got some non-basics. Of course, the classic. You get Cabal Coffers and you get Urborg together, and you make just a lot of black mana. Inkmoth. There's some little Voltron element in here that I've abused with this a good deal to kind of just swap in and get done. Vesuva, got this from a friend of mine offline. Does really good to copy creatures. This does well in terms of getting Glissa out and getting out general damage, really fast. In this deck, life doesn't really matter because you're trying to mill yourself out and put in really silly things. Flecking Pool, Temple. This one's another one good where, getting a lot of stuff in your graveyard and just making it really big and just swinging it around with it. Kazoo lands, wastes. I just grabbed this before, some filter lands, Urborg, of course. Command Tower. Now this is, here's going to be, a bunch of cards that I use specifically, with Glissa's ability. So, this, it gives a nice discard effect, which works well with Sangromancer, but also the ability to draw cards is nice. Armillary Sphere, gets you your basic lands when you need them to make sure you make your land drops. Rising Spellbomb, the same thing, except you get the draw card out of it. This has been like the surprise animal in this deck, especially, early and late game, because you're either, milling out early, responses that you need, like the artifacts or, stuff you're going to reanimate later. And then in the late game when everybody's got a lot of stuff, it's just completely milling them out. And I've milled out 2 or 3 people just from untapping. Hex Parasite's good to bring back because, a lot of people are running counter creatures. So being able to wipe those off of them, makes it really good. This guy gets rid of pesky enchantments and artifacts that I need to deal with, and then being able to pop them back, makes it real easy. Pithing Needle on a body, and then Pithing Needle not on a body. That's really good for shutting down specific cards. Totem's good for, being able to swap out threats from, an opponent's deck. Makes it, really useful. If anything, it just gets into the graveyard, and I could always just grab it later if I can't. Deathmantle's good when you start wiping. You pay 4 a couple times, you get a whole bunch of creatures out of it. They're all really good. Greaves, staple. Sol Ring is a staple. Mimic Vat's good. You get a good creature like Primeval Titan underneath it, and you're just kind of searching for lands all day. It's really good. Birthing Pod works really well, just being able to survival out creatures, just adding it up. Well, survival is a discard, but this is my little, this, and I'm trying to get a Lash right in here, but these are kind of the surprise, Voltron elements out of the deck. You could put this on Inkmoth Nexus, or Blinkmoth Nexus. Yeah. Putting that on and just getting, quick amounts of damage, plate, making people indestructible. Wurmcoil is really funny to stack to Birthing Pod. You get 2 creatures out of it, and then you get something bigger, like a Butcher Malakir or something. Sad Robot, everybody loves Sad Robot. You get some spells, being able to draw cards, pair of ramp spells. And you got your tutors, Diabolic, Demonic, and Worldly. This generally, being able to play this on turn 1 to get a Hermit Druid is really kind of something that's very hard for people to deal with. Reclaim brings any of those back real quick. And then some sack outlet cards. This one does a pretty good job of just getting things into the graveyard to be used with other cards. This one tends to be a wipe, because early game people get rid of a lot of stuff. This one I didn't really know where to put it, because you're kind of just putting stuff in your yard, so it's not really, sack outlet per se, but Chainer's Edict is another classic card. Diabolic Edict, any of the edicts, I guess. So, and then those lead up into, a massive living death where you just drop everything on the board and, I just got this before. I'm not entirely sure how it will work, but, it's Black Wrath. You can't really go wrong with it. So, Innocent Blood. And then you get into some recursion effects. Everybody gets a creature card, puts it into play. Rise from the Grave, good later one. This one's another sack, but you get, life gain out of it. So, animate, what the deck's named for. This is pretty easy to get, the threshold on it, because, you get milling cards out. Animate Dead, pretty sweet. Praetor's Council is a good late game, just getting that whole, graveyard into your hand. Loam's good if you mill out, your Urborg or anything. You can just dredge this up and put them back in your hand. Realms Uncharted allows you to search for them. Generally Urborg, Coffers, Vesuva, and Paul the Bandit Lord, or any of the other ones. Genwave lets you kind of go dig around a little bit. Scape Shift's funny because you play out your cards, you play Scape Shift, and you get all those non-basics out, and then it's like as if you just played your turn. So it's a good, quick way to kind of switch things up. Attrition's a good way to get Glissa activated while also, getting some other outlets with it. Grim Feast's one, I'm kind of testing, just being able to gain life off of, other people's problems is really funny. Zombie, this one, just a big bear. Zealot, another card to recur to kind of get rid of enchantments and artifacts. More card draw, especially with the dredge, kind of puts more stuff in the yard. Massacre's pretty much a wipe in itself. Witness, funny ways to abuse that and just get lots of things going on. Demons Tutor on a stick. The Grave Robber, and then being able to, reanimate cards off with the flip is really easy. Milling into Pharaoh is really funny, especially when people don't see him go by and they swing at you, and it's like, oh, okay, that's cool, he's dead. But Sangromancer is more of kind of a meta choice. People discard, people, lose creatures all the time, so just being able to gain life off of that stuff, other people's plays is really smart. Slime, another classic, just getting rid of it. Sweeper is kind of one that I don't see a lot, and this is kind of like in response to a lot of people putting graveyard hate, and I need to get that one card back. Being able to play her, bomb her, recur her, and just, kind of like a witness for the exiled part. This is a card to kind of look out for, because, it just helps. Grave Troll is kind of just a dredger that kind of helps, getting stuff in the yard and putting things away. Sheoldred, everybody deals with her. I haven't seen her really last more than a full round around the table just because of how powerful she is, but, it's still funny. Butcher, it's a Grey Pact on a stick, which is what's next. So being able to, especially having multiple artifacts in the yard that I can use to answer people, just being able to drop, one Sapperling token from Awakening Zone and getting, 9 creatures in the yard, in various ways is really funny. And then Hermit Druid's a good way to finish up because he's just, you drop him on turn 2 and people just don't know what to do with him. So, really funny. Thank you for watching CMDR decks. Please subscribe and favorite.